EFTD, the coordinator or the...
Coordinator.
Oh, Mr. Dartmouth.
Coordinator. Thank you. Well, first of all, I'm going to say something which may surprise you. I think that the Commissioner, Mrs. Malmström, should come to this committee more often. You were quoted as saying in the English press, "I do not take my mandate from the European people." And the fact of the matter is that you're carrying out negotiations which are very, very important to the people of my country and, for the matter, the other people of Europe. You should be held accountable. And as best as this committee, and one of the ways of doing it is to actually come up to this committee, particularly in view of the fact that 3 political groups voted against you at the confirmation hearings. And it was a pity that the ECR yet again chose to let down the British people. Now, I have read your by supporting the candidacy of the now Commissioner. That's why. Now, I've read this release with some care. And number 3, you actually talk about CETA, which is the EU-Canada trade agreement coming forward to the Parliament in 2016. Now, of course, that agreement has got great chunks of ISDS provisions, and there is a concern which I would like to flag about the ISD provisions in the CETA agreement. Now, and of course, I should point out, it's a bit of a debating point, but the ever-useful MS McClarkin may not know that, of course, we in the UK had a trade agreement with Canada in 1975, which we turned our back on. And likewise, we had trade agreements with Australia and New Zealand in 1975, which we turned our back on. So it's rather ironic that over 40 years later, it should be welcomed the opening of negotiations. Now, in one of the paragraphs here, you talked about, I am going to quote this, it says that the Commission pledges that EU's free trade agreements with third countries will include mobility provisions directly related to the sale of particular goods and equipment. Now, I'm very concerned, and my group is concerned, that this will simply be yet more immigration by the back door. And finally, and this is my final point, and I'm very brief, so I think you can put that gavel away. You talked about promoting European values. So all the EU negotiated trade agreements are going to have a political edge to them. This is the politicisation of trade. And I want to ask, have you ever done any impact analysis or working out what the costs of imposing your political agenda on trade might be? It would be very interesting to actually know the answer. And this is my final point. It's bad enough to have someone else in charge of my country's trade agreements. It's even worse, if that's possible, if negotiations are conducted according to a set of so-called values with which we don't necessarily agree. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.